everybody. Welcome back to the channel. This is Robbie here at Smirking Gun Reviews, back to talk more Doom Patrol. We're on Season 1, Episode 7. It is called Therapy Patrol. So, everybody, get comfortable. Lay down on the couch, close your eyes, play some whale music, and let's talk it through, okay? Let's see if we can get to some breakthroughs today. So... just real quickly, I know that I finally figured out, I bothered to look, that there are 15 episodes of this show, so we got 8 more weeks of this. Kind of makes me wish I had started watching way earlier, but full spoilers if you have not seen this episode. And this one's going to be a quick one, because it's a lot of just quick stories that lead up to something that kind of feels like we're going to get an explanation for something that happens in this episode and what the ramifications of that will be. But I think it's a necessary episode because our characters, clearly have issues. And at least in this episode, we kind of start to clear the air about it. They finally start to trust each other a little bit more, I guess. At least some of them, I'm a little bit frustrated with Jane. I know there's 64 personalities, but we seem to just keep coming up with just a couple. It's mostly Hammerhead. And I'm over her. I'm over Hammerhead. I know we can't always afford to do the big, splashy characters, but, nobody, you can't have therapy with a giant fire character or whatever. And then the flit that, teleports in and out. But I would like to have a rational conversation with somebody. One of Jane's personalities that isn't a complete asshole. They all seem to be kind of jerks. But Hammerhead's the worst, and I'm getting tired of it. Mostly just because it's just so abrasive all the time. But at least they cover that in this episode. So, the beginning of this episode, it's Cliff getting everyone together, talking about we got to get our issues worked out because if they're even going to try to get Niles back, they're going to have to go through Mr. Nobody. And Mr. Nobody has been feeding them, and telling them things about themselves that are just making them more upset, confusing them, messing with their heads. Just literally after last episode 2, showing them that, what happened to the former Doom Patrol. Jane's thinking, this is where I was going to end up. He was going to put me in this home. He never sees these people. And to be fair, he doesn't share any of this with them. He doesn't talk about it. So it's convenient that our characters are abandoned, and they put Niles in a situation where he's forced to go with Mr. Nobody so that he can't give them those answers. But then without him gone, Mr. Nobody can't go there and whisper in their ear. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's a it's a whole thing. So, he says we need to talk all this through. We have to do some therapy, basically. And I'm cleaning this up because again, and I know that the season's over and it's not going to change, but again, hopefully next season they can just cut some of the swearing out of this because it's just effing. And like I said, I cuss a lot. Okay? I do. But I don't do it this much, where it's like every other word. So, that being said, we kind of do a little flash backwards. So, before this all happens, before they decide to have therapy, it's like the day before, I think. We start to get little glimpses of everybody. So we start with Rita, where we get a flashback. Well, first, Victor's knocking on everybody's door saying, team meeting, 15 minutes. So we get this flashback of Rita. And it's like Hollywood 1930. And she's won a contest from Cook County, which I don't know if it's my Cook County in Chicago, but that'd be kind of cool. But she wins this contest to meet a really famous star, and she goes there, and it's the saying is true, don't meet your heroes. I mean, some of them are cool, right? I mean, there's got to be some that are cool, but in this case, it's the cliche, the saying fits. because she walks in and she's drinking and she doesn't want anything to do with any of these people. They're all like, you know, she looks down on people. She's Rita. She's the reflection of what Rita will become. But what's interesting about this is that her parents are the ones kind of guiding this, and they don't even let her use her real name. So through years of systematically erasing her real self and only knowing Rita Farr, it's not a surprise that Rita has identity issues. And when she got what she wanted, when she was told, you could make it in this business with that face, even though she was like, Shirley Temple age, um, growing up and thinking like that has made her like this. And so we see Rita like as in bed trying to pull herself together, literally. And I love this whole sequence. This is probably my favorite sequence of the episode because she's learning, she's using the breathing techniques, she's becoming more confident. She's becoming the most whole character so far. When I thought she was like never going to be interesting to me, she's done the most growth. And so she gets herself together. She goes out there for the meeting and then runs right into Jane, who is Hammerhead right now. And again, it's just she never has anything nice to say, and so it just hurts, it cuts Rita's concentration off, and Rita literally falls through the floor, through the vents, into the furnace. It's actually really funny and tragic at the same time and sad. Like, she's trying and nobody hears her, and she's down there and she's like half a blob, like a worm. And even though the special effect there isn't great, um, it's very, her head on a CGI more like blob body, but it's great. I still love it because it's effective. Where she's trying to get her, and while she's doing it, she sees the imagery that keeps getting shoved in her face with the baby carriage and all this other stuff that's reminding her. And I love when she drops the Rita Farr voice. When she's finally talking things through by herself, talking about, I don't want to be judged, but it's me, it's my fault. And when she finally gets to that, like, I deserved this, blah, 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 we get her real voice. The voice that she probably doesn't realize she has. And I love that about it. And how she finally, kind of gets herself back together and then the event that, causes the group therapy to happen, where we keep getting this Cliff saying, you think that'll hurt me? And then there's a loud explosion. Next we cut to Larry, who, it's North Dakota 1935, and his parents are realizing he's gay, and his dad sounds like he's like, I'm not going to say he's cool with it. He's kind of in denial. He's in denial, but he's not, denial is bad, but his mother, wow. Like, just only caring about the community standards and how they ruin their standing in the community, and it's 1935. People sucked. Like, we call some of these people, part of the greatest generation, but there were a lot of racists and xenophobes and homophobes and a lot of problems back then, and with the whole, I don't want to beat that to death, but, there's a reason, not everything was good back then just because they fought the Nazis. You know what I'm saying? And so he's reliving this memory, the spirit inside him, this electric person, I still don't know what to call him, the other, is coming out of him and showing him, while he comes out, he goes into like a dreamlike state, and he's been seeing and reliving like this memory with one of these guys, this guy John, I think was his name, that he was his lover, and how it didn't go well. And I'm sorry, a little distracted. There's a lot of activity going on outside of my area that's really loud. And so we also get to see Unwrapped Larry. But the memory here and what he's getting at, I'm a little not quite clear on. Just that he's tired of the feeling that he got from how he did things back then, how he didn't handle them right, how his lover wanted him to be more out, and he couldn't do it. And he wishes he could have been stronger back then. He wishes he would have owned up to his shit, because he was hiding it, and a lot of people's lives got ruined because of it. And so he's trying to own that. And there goes the camera to the standby mode. So, I guess it was talking a long time. Victor, then we cut to him, and he's just a. I mean, it gets. My notes start getting smaller and smaller as we get through. But like Victor, he's just basically afraid of disappointing his father, letting his dad down, kind of afraid of his father. And then Silas. We find out he was monitoring all his functions, and then he gets the social media unblocked, and now he's getting all these floods of people that just he thinks women are interested in him, and it's really they're just interested in the superhero part of him. But then when he thinks he meets somebody that is interested in him as a person, then he shows them the real him. Which, dude, all you had to do was show your face. What's with pulling up your shirt to show your metal abs? Is that something that's supposed to be play? That's supposed to play in the with the kids? Is doing the lifting up the shirt thing? It's metal, dude, and you're being shallow. I feel like that was a forced in thing. There was some sort of writing note. Well, the kids would respond to him more if he pulled up his shirt and showed his metal body. But she is scared of it. She doesn't know what to make of it, and he cancels his dating app profile. And then we have Cliff coming charging towards him like, what did you do to Clara? And that's we know Victor's blasted him with his like arm cannon. Jane's got daddy issues. We see that her dad ignored her in the crib, or whoever it was, while he smoked, and she cried. And it's a tricky thing too. Like some people say, let the kids cry. Let kids cry it out. And other people say you got to pick them up, you got to hold them, you got to baby them. I think it's a little column A, column B kind of situation, but I don't have kids, so I don't get to really completely weigh in on that because I've never had that experience. I mean, I've babysat my nieces and nephews before, and they're fine. At least I think they are. But, keeping it together isn't easy for Jane with all the personalities inside and having the daddy issues and now being abandoned by Niles, who she had a father figure. But he didn't abandon her. She's just afraid that he will because of what happened with the other Doom Patrol. And then we get to Cliff, who it's basically like father, like son. His dad was like that with his mom, and then and it all happened again. His wife died, and he's still alive. So again, where we freeze the screen. There we go. Are we back? And this was the where it started to get pretty interesting. Truck to what I thought was this guy's house, and I thought, well, that's really convenient. It didn't take him long to get there, and you see this guy who's Clara's dad, or at least you think he is, and you think he's going to be a nice guy, like in the pictures, but he's like a piece of shit, and totally saying, like, oh, I didn't want to be, burdened with some kid, and they get into this fight, and all of a sudden you realize he shoots him with his gun. Clearly this isn't the guy. There's a malfunction in Robot Man's brain, and he's seeing things that aren't really there. So then where'd he go in the truck? Did he ever get in the truck? Because if he didn't get in the truck, how did he run over the rat later on? Or was that a separate time? I'm a little confused there. Like, what time period did he run over the rat? Which we're getting close to. But at this point, he realizes he's having brain freakouts, and they need to talk about things. They need to be able to discuss things together and air it out, because right now nothing is working. They are not a team. They're not even close to being a team. They are all messed up, and without Niles to talk to, who always, at least they said, listened, they can't get it out. But it's necessary for them to do it together, to try to air out their grievances out loud to each other, even if they don't like each other. So at least be able to count on each other a little bit, because he's saying it's a safe space, but it escalates quickly. But at least, again, Reed comes out, saying, nobody has something on her, and basically she feels like she's an illusion, that without Rita Farr, who is she? She doesn't even remember her real name. And Larry, we hasn't touched anyone in 60 years, and his self-loathing is just running his life all these 60 years. Vic killed his mom, and he's not even sure what's real anymore, and why his dad doesn't trust him. What more is there? If there's something worse than killing his mother, he's afraid to find out what that is. And then Jane shows this painting from the hangman's daughter, one of her personalities, that shows basically Victor has killed everybody on the team. I think it looks like. And this is where I just kind of say I'm tired. I'm tired of everybody giving Jane a pass. They just keep letting her go away. I mean, Cliff tries to she says something terrible to him. He says something terrible back to her, and she just keeps getting a pass. And I'm just kind of done. I'm just kind of done with Jane for right now. If they don't get to a breakthrough pretty soon with her, I'm close to writing off this character, because I'm frustrated with how they write her. It never changes. We're 7 episodes deep, and nothing. It's just the same shit every single episode with her. A fine acting job. She's doing what's on the page, but somebody write her better. Somebody start getting through these characters, because if this whole 15 episodes of this is a little monotonous, it's getting really I love the weird factor and all the imagination that goes into this show. It really is unique, but we're kind of just going in circles at this point. 7 episodes and it is just more no growth, no real growth, except for Rita. And any growth that they have, okay, I shouldn't say none, but any growth, it's just so on the surface still. So, I mean, like I said, Rita at least is trying to help Cliff, who has another malfunction. And we find out that the reason he's having a malfunction is there's a rat inside his robot body, probably chewing on the wires. So this is where we get Admiral Whiskers. Who is the rat that's in Cliff's head. Cliff ran over his mother. When did he run over the mother? It seems like he ran her over on the way to see the guy that was his friend, but if he never got in the truck in the first place, if it was all just a malfunction and some sort of he's seeing things, then what? So Mr. Nobody tells Admiral Whiskers to go and infect Cliff's effing soul, his heart, his mind, his soul, and he goes into his body, and that's the end of the episode. This is not my favorite episode, but I did like the idea of therapy. Unfortunately, it didn't go on long enough, because as soon as you get to Jane, it's apart. And that bugged me. Because, like Cliff says, nobody gets to talk to you. Nobody gets to talk to you. You just get to, and he's right when he says you shouldn't just be able to throw a hand grenade in the middle of this session and then walk away. So even Cliff is done giving her a pass. And I'm done giving her a pass. And if the character is not going to be written any smarter than this, then what the actual hell? So, anyway, I still like it. I still like the show. Last week's episode that we reviewed last week was an incredible episode. And this is not a filler episode. I know I just got a comment from somebody who says, "How dare you call something filler?" It's just a term meaning that the plot doesn't move forward, in my opinion. It means that we're just getting a lot more information, but we're not progressing the plot. When there's a lot of story we build our characters up a little bit more, but the story of getting to Niles doesn't move any further. So, anyway, that's the end of this review. So if you liked it, please hit the like button if you care to hit the like button if you feel like it. And I'm not, and then we are at 900, as of recording this video, we're at 993 subscribers. So if you are not a subscriber and you're enjoying the content, please join the fun here at Smirking Gun Reviews. We do games, comics, movies, TV, just about everything under the sun. Go into the playlist. I guarantee you, with all the videos I have, I guarantee that there's probably something that you'll like. So otherwise, we'll be back next week with episode 8. Otherwise, we got Watchmen on Sundays, His Dark Materials and Batman the Animated Series on Mondays. Tuesday is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Wednesday is Doom Patrol. Thursday is Crime Story, Friday is The Leftovers and The Mandalorian, and Saturday is Doctor Who. And in there, in the middle of that, is comic book reviews and movie reviews and other things. Anything that I feel like I have the time for after that, we still do all that too. So there's tons of stuff on the channel to check out. I really appreciate anybody who checks out this video and makes it that far on my glitchy ass camera. Like I said, we should be getting our camera by the 21st, which is by, let's see, tomorrow's the 18th, or what day is today? So by the end of this week, we should have a new camera. I keep forgetting I'm recording this early. So anyway, have a great day. We'll see you in the next video, and peace out.